Evening everybody, it is me again, and it's been a while since the last video, so I apologise again for that. Coming to you from the very glamorous surroundings of a Holiday Inn just outside Glasgow. I've got a bit of glare going on me. Let me just try and turn that off, see if that makes any difference. Now I'm really dark. Let's leave that on and deal with the glare. So, yes, in a Holiday Inn outside Glasgow, still doing my induction. And I also have forgotten to bring my, what's it called? Microphone with me. So I'm hoping that you can hear me relatively clearly and there's not going to be too much noise from the numpties and the rest of the hotel. So I've got a bit of free time, got some time to kill, so I thought I would do a couple more blind tasting drams from Andrew A.P. Butler, because I've still got a few of his to go through. I think this is 7 and 8, and one of them I've noticed is actually, you might see on this, the rest of them are all dry like that, but this one's a little bit on the soggy side. It doesn't look like it's lost too much from what I can see. It still looks pretty full. I think it's just leaked just a tiny bit through the cap while I've been carting it around in a suitcase for the last this is my 3rd week, and it's basically been in that, so I think it's just shook up enough. So I'm going to do this one first. Can't really tell what it is from that, so let's get this one open, let's get this one done, and then I can get rid of that packaging and it can stop stinking my bag out of whiskey. So do pretty much bang on. Whoop. And in there. Ooh, now you might be able to tell already because the light's not too bad. So I've not really got a great background, but if I put it by the pillars, it looks a lot darker actually on camera than it does in the flesh, but it is still pretty dark. I've got quite a good blue, kind of clear, almost daylight light near me. And it's got a good coloration on it. Kind of like my throat's a bit thick as well, so this is not ideal situation for my for doing the tasting, but let's go on with it. But it's kind of, it's a definite kind of like burnt umber, almost maple syrupy colour. Yeah, kind of a very much like maple syrup, not too dark, not too thick and unctuous, but getting along those lines. Whether this is natural colouring or not, I have absolutely no idea. So I've been suffering from a bit of a head cold. I was in London last week, and I think I just picked up London tubitis. Because over the weekend I've had a really thick throat, sore throat, bunged up nose, the whole lot. It's getting better, but it's still not ideal. So you can probably hear from that. Not fantastic, but it's, you know, I can pick stuff up anyway. So, whoa, well, it's cleaned my nose out anyway. Now, it does smell quite a high ABV. But I'm not sure if it is like cask strength or something like that. It's funny, there's a definite citrus character to it, but there's a slight floral element to it as well. There's a lovely fruitiness, but it's kind of like pear, but then there's a juicier element to that as well. So it's citrus. It's kind of like lemon and lime, but it's not sour lemon and lime. It's almost like a lemon and lime jelly, but there's also this menthol feel to it. There's like a menthol and eucalyptus, and also there's a very soft wood feel to it, but it's not oak, it's like balsa wood. I don't think this is Scotch. It's not giving me a Scotchy vibe. It's weird. There's a lot of flavours going on, but there's a delicacy that runs through all of them. There's a real subtlety to it as it flows, but it flows very well from one aroma to the other. There is mint, there is almost like balsa wood, fresh wood, freshly cut wood. There is fruit, there is apple and pear, there is gentle honey. There's a really sort of floral, not quite honeysuckle, not quite jasmine, but nearly there. I thought initially it was cask strength, but it's not an alcoholic burn that my nose is picking up. It's a very intense freshness, which on a first sniff is kind of, oh, that's quite strong, and then it's actually an intensity of aroma rather than an intensity of alcoholic burn. You know, I thought this was like first sniff, oh, cask strength, something like that, but no, actually this freshness is, the intensity that's on there is fresh fruit, that sort of thing. And it's almost like maybe 43, 46% on the nose. Anyway, I should probably try it. I'm going to go with 46%. It does have a bite to it. Again, it's delicate on the palate though. There is a definite... Excuse me, that's not the whiskey, that's my cough. There is an intensity to it, but it's tempered. There is a fire to it, but it's subdued. Everything about this is very subdued. It's kind of controlled. The fruitiness is there. There's not quite the range of flavours as there is on the nose. There's less of the citrusiness. There's an apple and pear element though, and a tart tatin feel to it. There's like a caramel toffee element, but it's quite a clean caramel. And it's not, I don't think this is coloured. I don't think this has got any caramel colouring in. It's not got that plastickiness. I don't know if it's single malt or not. That's the thing. And again, it's not really screaming Scotch. That's the thing. But it's not giving me an American vibe either. I don't think this is Irish, which is really narrowing it down where it possibly could be from. Or it's not. If it's an American, it's a very, very delicate American, very unusual American, something that I'm probably not going to pick. If it's Irish, it doesn't have the juiciness of pot still. It doesn't have that black currantiness that I always associate with like pot still Irish, and in the pot still blend as well. Don't think it's got colouring in it. It doesn't have a Scotch feel. It doesn't have the maltiness. It doesn't have the smokiness. There's not really a smoke. If there is smokiness there, it's very, very subtle. Everything about this is really subtle. Really hard to describe because it starts off with this intensity of flavour, but then really kind of like reins back in and almost apologises for being a bit too full on. There's more oomph on the palate. It's weird. It starts off very restrained, and as you hold it in your mouth, it's still very restrained with this slight, this almost as though the alcohol percentage is kind of holding everything in. But again, I don't think it's that strong. I think it's like 46, 48%, something like that. But as you swallow, it releases everything, and the finish is really long. But again, it's controlled, it's subdued, there is fruit, there's apple, there's pear, there's pastry, there's honey, there is caramel and a slight burnt caramel feel to it. There's not really a smoke. What it is really sweet. There's gooseberry. There is a warm sensation at the back of my throat. Japanese? Maybe? It's got that kind of... It's got that subdued character to it. It's got this refined element that is kind of like things like the Miyagi-Kyo and the Taketsuru and things like that, where it was all, we're going to give you flavour, but we're just going to hold everything back, and we're just, you know, very, very restrained whiskey. Possibly. It's not saying Scotch. It's not saying Scotchy Scotch. I don't think it's blended whiskey. I think it's single malt. I'm fairly certain it's not American. If it's American, it's a very unusual American, and therefore I wouldn't be able to guess that it was American. Irish may be. I'm just trying to think of anything else, unless this is really something unusual like an Italian or Tasmanian or something way off. So I'm going to say 46%. Somewhere different, slightly different, something like Japanese or possibly Irish, but I don't think it is. Or something. This is something really unusual. Something, European, Swiss, something. I covered a few of them off, and they were all kind of different and unusual. Danish or Norwegian or something like that. I don't think it's got colouring added into it, but it's still quite a dark colour. In terms of age, because if it is from somewhere unusual, it could be anything. It could be 5-year-old. It could be 8-year-old. I'm going to say 10. If Ben, you have to pick an age. 10-year-old, yeah, let's go with that. And I'm going to go with single malt. So, let's see. And let's get me, let's make sure I'm connected to Tinterwebs, and let's see where we are. So, ooh. Bugger. That means I've got to do a different video. In fact, I don't know what's going on with Project 500. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this as the blind tasting one, and then I'll do a bit of information about the distillery, and I'll release it as a video again, just with the tasting bit, as part of Project 500, because I have not done this one. And, fortunately, at least let me just check, because I'm fairly certain I know where it's from. It is Japanese. So this is, hang on, cask 370, that's handy. Right, okay, so this is, where's the camera gone? There we go. Hope you can see it. Hanyu, 1991 to 2009, single cask number 370. So, you put that into Google and it comes up with cask 370. It is on sale at the Whisky Exchange. Oh no, it's not on sale, it's out of stock at the Whisky Exchange. Single cask, I was well off, 57.3%. So presumably cask strength. For another single cask from the extinct Hanyu distillery. This 1991 vintage has been finished in Japanese Mizunara oak after an initial maturation in a hogshead. So that says it's 1991 to 2009. So I was off on the age as well, because we are looking at 17, 18 years old, depending on the months, that sort of thing. Price-wise, Whisky Auctioneer looks as though they probably have sold it. Oof. Winning bid, £701. So it ain't cheap, but then it is a Japanese whisky, which makes it not cheap, and it's an extinct Japanese distillery, so that makes it even more not cheap. KosherWineUK.com are apparently selling a bottle for £400. So yes, I will need to do a video for Project 500. I can add this in because I didn't do a Hanyu. Very, very nice indeed. Very nice. Like I say, restrained, controlled, Japanese. That was the overriding theme of the good Japanese whiskies that I did. And there were a few duffers in there, or not duffers, disappointing releases in there. But everything seems to be very controlled and very efficient, but restrained and just kind of held back a little bit. It's a good flavour profile on this. I am going to add a tiny bit of water to it, because it was, what was it, 57.1. I love the fruitiness to it. That apple and pear elements are really, really good. So this last little drop, I'm going to put in 57.3. This last little bit, I'm going to put a little bit of water in, but I don't think it needs it. I really don't, because the firiness works. The alcohol content works really well with that fruitiness, and it's so restrained, but it's balanced. It's not restrained and there's nothing there. It's restrained and it's balanced. It's done a really, really good job at actually kind of giving you enough without making it like watery or weak or anything like that. So let's just try this, finish off this little bit. Bit more honey and caramel character come through. Really kind of tart tatin, but with more of a pear element to it. I really like that. That's really nice. That's very, very good indeed. Andrew, thank you very, very much for that. That is really good. Really nice stuff. £400 a bottle. But, you know, it's Japanese whiskey and it's extinct. So, you know, it's a collector's item as well. But very, very good indeed. Kind of pleased with myself that I managed to get roughly where it was from. But not having had Hanyu before, I would have no idea what it tastes like. But it's very good. My guess is that if you try and find a Hanyu anywhere, you're going to be paying those prices anyway. So it's probably, you know, it's not going to be everywhere. Right, I'll do a quick rinse out and then I shall crack on with a second of the night. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.